What would you do if you discovered your wife was cheating and taking your kids to hide the affair? Most people would scream, cry, or explode. I took a different route. I smiled and let her dig her own grave. If you've ever dreamed of serving cold, calculated justice to someone who thought they could walk all over you, hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle up, because today's story is personal. It's raw. And the revenge? Let's just say, it ruined lives. Suburban Midwest. 2 kids, white picket fence, and a dark secret brewing. You ever get that sick feeling in your gut? Like something's just off? That's how it started for me. Back then, I was just a regular guy. Steady job, decent house, 2 beautiful kids. My wife, she worked part-time, and the rest of her week, she said, was spent visiting her parents, about 90 minutes away. Seemed innocent enough at first. But kids, they notice things. They repeat things. And our 2 little ones, 4 and 6 years old, started casually mentioning visits to grandma's every time my wife wasn't at work. Every single time. 2 or 3 times a week, they'd say. That's when my stomach started twisting. At first, I told myself it was nothing. Maybe she missed her parents. Maybe the kids were exaggerating. But that voice in my head wouldn't shut up. So I did what any man losing sleep would do. I started tracking the mileage on her car. Every Monday morning, I jot it down. And by Friday, she was clocking an extra 400 miles. 400 miles. Something was happening out there, and it wasn't bingo night with her folks. Then, one random afternoon, I walked into our home office. There it was, like fate had pulled the trigger. Sticky note. OL username. Password. Right there. I stared at it for a good minute. My heart was pounding like I was about to commit a crime. But curiosity, or maybe survival, took over. I logged in. What I found. Emails between my wife and her college best friend. Laughing, gushing, bragging. She was regularly meeting up with an ex-boyfriend from high school. And worse, she wasn't just disrespecting me. She was mocking his wife, calling her fat after the kids, talking about how easy it all was, how good old days felt even better now. I remember staring at that screen, hands trembling, not just from rage, but heartbreak. I printed everything, saved every word, but I wasn't done. I called a buddy of mine, a cop, told him the bare minimum and asked for a favor. He gave me a number, a former detective, now private investigator. Name was Ron. Old school. No nonsense. My kind of guy. I gave him the emails, the info, the suspicions, and he got to work. What Ron brought back was enough to make anyone sick. Photos, times, locations. Every Tuesday and Thursday, she'd drop our kids off at her parents', then meet this guy, Bob, for lunch. Then, same cheap motel. Every time. Afterwards, she'd freshen up, pick up the kids, and come home like nothing happened. I felt like a man possessed, a ghost in my own life. But one thing became crystal clear. This ends now. I hired a divorce lawyer that same week. I wasn't going to scream, break things, or beg. My parents cheated on each other when I was a kid. It destroyed my family. My siblings, and I still carry those scars. I wasn't going to pass that poison down. But before I dropped the hammer, I wanted all the pieces. Ron, the PI, dug into Bob. And boy, did he deliver. Bob was married, 3 kids. And guess what? He worked as a VP of sales at his father-in-law's company. Which meant the man cheating with my wife owed his whole cushy life to his wife's father. The house? In her parents' name. The job? A favor. The trust? Built on lies. And I was about to turn every one of those lies into ash. Here's what I did. I had divorce papers drawn up and picked the day she'd be served at her job. But that wasn't all. I made a few copies of Ron's report. One of those was meant for someone who deserved to know the truth. Bob's wife. Ron met her in person. He showed her the photos, the emails, the hotel records, everything. What she did next was glorious. She cleaned out their joint bank account that night, took the kids, left. Next morning, she told her dad. By lunchtime, Bob was fired. By dinner, he was evicted. The house? Not in his name. The job? Gone. The family? Broken. And that wasn't even the end. Bob tried to force his way back into the house, ended up brawling with his wife's brother and got his nose broken. Restraining orders. Police reports. Jail time. I don't even know where Bob is now. Rumor is he fled the state, jobless and disgraced. As for his ex-wife, she picked up the pieces like a warrior, went to work for her dad's company, took over after he retired. She made something of her life. And me? I kept my head down, raised my kids. I never used what my wife did as ammo, only spoke when it came to parenting. Now that the kids are grown, I don't speak to her anymore. I don't hate her, but I don't see her either. To me, she's a stranger who once lived in my house. The day she was served divorce papers, she looked stunned, like the world had just spun upside down. But she never saw the real punch coming. Not the job loss, not the eviction, not the humiliation of her lover's destruction. My revenge didn't need shouting or violence, just truth, cold, documented, unstoppable. Bob thought he could sneak around and stay untouchable. Now, he's a ghost, just like the affair he tried to hide. Sometimes karma doesn't knock. It kicks the damn door in. You don't need to scream to win. You just need receipts. And patience. Cheaters lie. But evidence? Evidence never does. If the story gave you chills or made you want to mail a PI a thank you card, smash that like button. And tell us in the comments, what's the coldest revenge you've ever seen? Don't forget to subscribe. We've got plenty more tales of karma, betrayal, and justice coming your way. Until next time, stay sharp.